And good morning, everybody, and welcome to Saturday Report. I'm Rita Cosby. Thanks for joining us. Big breaking news. Former President Trump says illegal leaks are indicating he will be arrested on Tuesday. At the same time, he is blasting the Manhattan District Attorney's Office. If he is arrested, he will become the first former president in American history to be criminally charged. And let's get right to it. Let's bring in his former attorney and also the former New York City Mayor, Rudy Giuliani. Rudy, what a stunning morning. How do you interpret this, if indeed these reports are correct, that President Trump could be arrested on Tuesday?
Well, this would be the final affirmation that this very storied, illustrious district attorney's office has become nothing more than a state police in a authoritarian state. This is a completely political prosecution. It has zero to do with the law. Zero. I heard Doug's analysis. Doug's a great lawyer, by the way. He said, 100% correct. The only thing I would disagree with him about, I'd be stronger on the fact that this is not a violation of any law anywhere. First of all, it was investigated by the U.S. Attorney's Office. And the reason they dropped this case, among others, is they declared Cohen completely incredible. They wouldn't support him in front of a federal court and argued against Mueller for cooperation of Cohen. There are certain witnesses, and Doug is absolutely right. I use many liars as my witnesses who would become turncoats. But one of the rules, very strict rules, is if you're a liar, you're a turncoat, and now you come over on the government side, you better never lie again. Because if you lie again, you go to jail. He's lied 8 times since he's come over on the government side, including one that's a Lollapalooza. He went in front of the House committee. This is after he cooperated, claiming to be, I'm on God's side now. And he said, I never asked for a job at the White House. I put on 10 minutes later a text and then a video of him telling Chris Cuomo he wanted to be chief of staff.
So let me ask you, Rudy, do you believe then clearly they will go after the integrity of the witnesses if you're Donald Trump and if you're working with them? Go after the integrity of the witnesses, go after the thinness, go after the history that even something like this normally doesn't get even to a charge.
Yeah, I first became famous, Rita, as an assistant U.S. attorney who got a sitting congressman to plead guilty on the witness stand after breaking him down after a day and a half of cross-examination. I would guarantee you give me 2 hours with this guy on the witness stand, he'll come off crying and wetting his pants. He is not just the usual liar. He's the kind of liar that's declared by a federal prosecutor. You can't use him. He's toxic. He's toxic not only to the case, but to the reputation of the district attorney's office. Because when you start using people like this, it flows over into other cases. So when I go before a jury and say, this man was a liar in the past, like Sammy the Bull, but since he's cooperated with us, he's told the truth. I better be ready to prosecute them if they lie, because juries will never believe me. Well, that's exactly what Cohen has done.
So where do you see it going then, Rudy, given that? Where do you see this whole thing going?
Eventually, the case is going to be dismissed as a complete undercutting of justice. There's a ruling, an ancient one, a Supreme Court decision by Justice Jackson, that says that sometimes the prosecution can stink so bad it just has to be dismissed. Basically, it's a violation of due process to be a little more legal about it. But that's it. I mean, there are so many things wrong with it. So what's wrong with this? First, there's no it's real. If it's anything, it's a federal crime. It's a campaign finance violation that the U.S. Attorney's Office determined wasn't a crime. Second, it's a false document in the mind of the prosecutor, not in the mind of the people who executed it. It's done 1 million times, not a non-disclosure agreement. People do this all the time for very good reasons. A woman who's been violated, who doesn't want to go to court, wants to get her money, but she wants to get it without any publicity. A woman who may be lying against a man who can't take that kind of charge because he's famous or because his wife is fragile or he's fragile or whatever. It's a very legitimate There must be 1 million of them that have been executed in the last 50 years in Manhattan alone. I mean,
So,
I can't tell
so
you.
what's your message to Alvin Bragg's office today?
Alvin Bragg in his office must have 1,000 non-disclosure agreements. And plus, this is a personal sexual situation. What about Bill Clinton? That wasn't worse? This guy, allegedly, and I'm telling you it's untrue, as his personal friend, I'm going to tell you categorically, she's lying. Categorically. And I don't know I'd say that all the time. I can tell you, and I can tell you personally why I know that. She's a damn liar. He's also recovered money from her. This is ridiculous. It's completely ridiculous. It's a complete indication that Bragg, when he declared he wasn't going to enforce the law, about half of them should have been dismissed. And meanwhile, let's not forget the fact that Manhattan has suffered under unbelievable levels of crime under this incompetent and communist, this Soros paid for piece of I don't know what. This has got to be the nail in the coffin of this DA.
So why is he doing it? Why do you believe he's doing it, Rudy?
His prosecutors, some of Mueller's prosecutors have come out against him and said, hey, don't do this. This will get him elected president. This is such a miscarriage of justice. It'll get him elected president.
So where do you see this ending up, and how much do you think that Trump will now use this? Some people believe it's going to backfire because a lot of people are saying this is over the top.
I mean, I'm not, you know, I'm still his very close friend, and I talk to him all the time, but I'm not an official advisor. Let's say, you know, as a friend, I give him, let me just give him unofficial advice. Use it to a fare thee well. This is the perfect, this is a great illustration of what's wrong with Biden's Democrat Party. Bragg isn't just in New York. Soros put about 50 of these people all over America. These are the people who dismissed all the cases against the rioters who killed people. These are the people in Illinois and St. Louis and Pennsylvania where they had record murders last year. Krasner. I can give you a chapter and verse. This is a great corruption of America. And it's part of trying to make America a communist country, undercovered by Soros. What the hell's he doing for 8 years buying out DA's offices and putting these criminals in charge like Bragg?
So do you think this could embolden Trump in the sense and use that as an example? He's been talking about the weaponization. Real quick, Rudy.
Yeah, to help our country, I hope so, because this is not a New York problem. You got this problem in St. Louis. You got a bigger problem in Philadelphia where you're setting murder rates because you got a DA who doesn't prosecute murderers. He'd do the same thing to Trump. They don't believe in the law. They believe in making us one country under one world, a la Klaus Schwab and Soros, who spent $40 million in putting these crummy DAs in to ruin America and to, by the way, raise the level of the murder of black children astronomically.
Well, and as you bring up, there has been this revolving door of criminals in New York that have really just gotten barely a slap on the wrist many times. And here we are seeing all these efforts and all this taxpayer money on Trump. Rudy, thank you. We really appreciate you being with us today.